Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm CarloBaseball, and this is WillPower. Baseball's over, and we haven't talked about baseball in a long time, and I kind of miss baseball, don't you?
Yeah, man. That was part of my daily routine for the last couple months, you know. Usually it's a daily routine for about 6 months. It was a shorter season, and I'm feeling it now, dude. I really wish we could have seen a full season, but here's hoping for next year.
Yeah.
Wishing for 162 games.
Right. And I mean, we had 3 months of regular season baseball, and then that last month was just kind of intense because we were Dodger fans, and oh my God, it was just so intense, where right now it's like, we're catching up, but we want more baseball. We want more baseball, and we can't have it, and that's kind of sucks. But there's still a lot of stuff to talk about baseball, though. Like, even though the season's not on, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, like free agencies that we are going to go ahead and talk about, and not the top caliber players that are out there, like, you know, Bauer, of course, he's a free agent, and there's a lot of teams that are looking for him, but we have a lot of other free agencies, you know, players that are actually gonna, you know, do a difference in teams. And we're gonna go start with first base, and you know, see what team and what player like should be going to that team. Go ahead and start off, Will.
You know, for first base, there's a lot of really good first basemen out there. I mean, obviously, with both MVPs from the AL and the NL both being first basemen, in Jose Abreu and Freddie Freeman. Abreu from the White Sox and Freddie Freeman from the Braves. You know, it's been a long time since the AL and NL have both had first baseman as their MVP, and you know, both of them really showed up this season. I really saw it the way that it played out. I saw Freddie Freeman as being the MVP, and I saw Jose Abreu as being MVP. And there's a lot of controversy over Jose Abreu because Yankee fans really wanted DJ LeMahieu. They really thought that he was the number one player in the league. You know, kind of going into that a little bit, my argument for Jose Abreu is he was more impactful. You know, he had a total combined RBI and runs, I believe, of like about 70, and DJ LeMahieu had like 48. So Abreu obviously had more impact in helping win games, you know, versus LeMahieu, especially with the Yankees lineup. You know, with the lineup that the Yankees had, he should have been able to score more runs and to get more RBI. But you know, the White Sox came out swinging, man, and they have a really good lineup with Jose Abreu right in the middle of it, and he just showed, even in his older age, that he can still do it, man. That's why they gave him that contract extension just a couple years ago.
And he won MVP. So, I mean, I know why you're saying it, because you had an argument with one of the guys on Instagram, which was kind of intense, man. It was really cool. You put a good argument, and then he just didn't ever replied.
Yeah.
So who won that one?
Maybe he realized, like, oh damn, maybe he's right.
I just wanted to throw that out there, man. You had a good argument. I actually liked it. I actually saw it. I'm like, I even sent you a text, and I'm like, oh man, you got him, dude. You got him clean. So yeah, so the person was actually commenting saying that why didn't LeMahieu win the MVP, and Will was just like, because playoffs doesn't count. And after that point, he didn't say anything. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs, they pretty much already know who the MVP is by the end of the regular season. Yeah. And all the playoff stats don't matter. No. You could be a Mike Trout caliber player throughout the whole season, and you could have a zero batting average in the whole playoff series, and you could still win MVP. It has no impact towards your MVP status. Yeah. So, you know, you're actually the one that kind of pointed that out to me, that you texted me that. And, you know, after I put it out there, that's when I didn't get no response anymore. So
I was just like, man, you got him, dude. That's it. Turn it off. Like, you should lock out your Instagram and don't ever publish anything. That guy was just like,
it was one of those Yankee pages.
Yeah, he was a Yankee fan, of course.
Yeah, but you know what though? I love to talk to people like that, because there's a lot of biased fans out there, and I kind of consider myself one of them also, because when I'm talking about the Dodgers, you get excited. Yeah. You see these players on a daily basis when you're watching your favorite team play. I don't watch the Brewers play every day. I watch them when I can, and I don't watch the Giants play every day. I watch them when I can, but I try to make time to watch every single Dodger game. Of course, I'm not going to be able to watch 162 games, but I do try to watch as many as possible. And then the same thing with Yankee fans. I'm sure that they're trying to watch as many Yankee games as possible, and they don't really pay attention to other teams, which is another point that we had with Mookie Betts, that we didn't really even realize how good he was until he played with the Dodgers this season. Because, we've seen highlights when he's on Quick Pitch, or when he's on MLB Tonight, when he was with the Red Sox, and we saw amazing throws and hits, and just how clutch he was throughout his career with the Red Sox. But because we didn't watch him on a daily basis like we did this season, now we actually have our eyes open to that. Yeah,
and that's true. Yeah, that's just, we've been talking about it on a podcast, how amazing Mookie Betts was. Like, he didn't win the MVP, but in our eyes, we thought he did, was part of one of those top three for sure. Freddie Freeman is well deserving though, for sure. But yeah, after seeing Mookie Betts play this season, and like you just mentioned, it's because he was with the Dodgers. That's why we got to see him a little bit more. When he was in the East Coast with Boston, we really didn't get to see a lot of Mookie Betts. We got to hear from him like maybe once in a while out here in the West Coast. And because now that he's playing with the Dodgers, it's just like a huge difference. You get to see a 5-tool player, and even maybe even 6. Like, he probably has more knowledge because he's been helping a lot of the players out in the Dodger dugout. I heard Barnes was one of the players that used to feed off of him. Like, he would tell him how to swing the bat and stuff like that, which is something that players develop over the years, and Mookie Betts has that.
Yeah, and he has 6 years in the majors now. So yeah, that's considered a veteran. Even though he's still pretty young, he's a veteran player, and veteran players have knowledge, which is kind of impactful in the discussions that we're going to have in the free agency. There's some younger players, some older players, and sometimes the veteran kind of gets the advantage over the younger player, even if the younger player has, better stats or whatever. Yeah. It's not just about stats, it's about a clubhouse mentality. And a lot of times you'll see that veteran player come into an organization that they've never played with before, but because they have that presence, when they bring it into the clubhouse, everyone gets excited. They're learning off of this guy that, it's like someone on the outside looking in and telling, like someone from the Rangers, like Elvis Andrus, right? I think he's a free agent this season, shortstop. So if he were to go over to the Washington Nationals, and, even though Trey Turner is an amazing player, there could be some tips that Elvis Andrus has for Trey Turner, just because he has the experience that he's been in the majors longer than Trey Turner has, Yeah.
Even though Trey Turner has a World Series, ring over Andrews, but that's the thing. Like, when you have these experienced players, I mean, we're not going to get anybody in the free agency that's like a top player, like a Freeman and Abreu. You have Todd Frazier there. He's available. Like, he's a really good player at first, right? So would you take Todd Frazier as your top pick for a free agency to help your team, because he has experience and he has, he does have a lot to offer for a team.
Todd Frazier, he's been around a lot. He came into the league in 2011, started his career in Cincinnati. He's been with 4 or 5 teams since then. And he just finished the 2020 season with the Mets. Looking at his career numbers, he has a .242 batting average, 24.7 career WAR. That's an amazing career WAR.
It is.
For those of you that don't understand what WAR is, it's translates as wins above replacement, meaning how much more valuable you are to a different player in the same position. So he's kind of bounced around the diamond a little bit. He's played some first, some second, some third. Most recently, I believe he played third for the Mets, but he also played some first base. But I think he's going to be primarily a first baseman, which is why we have him in the first baseman category this season coming up. So, the guy that I'm comparing him to is Eric Thames. They're both around the same age. Eric Thames kind of broke into the league a little bit late. Now, he was in MLB around the same time as Todd Frazier, actually, in 2011. But he left. He played in, I think it was either Korea or Japan.
One of the both. Yeah, I was going to say one of the two. Yeah,
one of those two. And he just tore up the league over there. You know, the pitching isn't at the caliber as MLB has. And he ended up getting signed by the Brewers, and he came back over to MLB. And the first season he came back, and he just crushed it, man.
He did.
I don't remember how many home runs he had, but I believe by the All-Star break he had 30, and then he started slowing down a little bit. Yeah. But between those two, I'm gonna go with Eric Thames, man. I know Todd Frazier has more experience in Major League Baseball in the States, but just looking at their career numbers, Eric Thames, like, you know that OPS is huge with me. I think that on base percentage plus slugging percentage is the number one stat when it comes to batters. And Eric Thames has a career 792 OPS, whereas Todd Frazier has a 767 OPS. And you know, it's not that much of a difference. It's a 0.03 difference, but sometimes that does make all the difference. And I see that Eric Thames still has a little bit more power than Todd Frazier does. The batting average is pretty much the same. On base percentage is very close. Slugging percentage is pretty close. I just see Eric Thames as a guy that has a little more maybe career longevity. He seems like he's a little more athletic, you know. Going back to earlier in his career, he used to steal some bases, and a lot of people don't know about that about him. But so did Todd Frazier back in like 2014, 2015. Todd Frazier actually had 20 stolen bases in 2014, but because of his injuries and just kind of like the wear and tear on his body, he started slowing down a little bit. So when you're talking about veteran presence, I would go with Todd Frazier, but overall playing, I'd rather have Eric Thames. What about you? So
I think I'm gonna go with Todd Frazier on this one, only because of he can play first, and it depends what league you're going to. So I'm going with the National League, but I don't know. We don't know if there's going to be a DH right now, right? If Eric Thames,
I think they did confirm that at least for next season, the DH is going to stay for the National League. That's
cool, because I kind of do like the DH. So, but anyways, it's still for me, because he can actually play first and third, and that's a position where you need those guys to rest. Like, let's say a Freeman, let's say someone that plays third that can't play all the time. You switch them up with those players, and baseball is becoming a game where you need to play multiple positions. I'm going based off of positions, and I'm not going based off of the internet. Sorry. Based off of batting average and stuff like, because they're both kind of the same thing, right? So yeah. So just I'm going with Todd Frazier on this one, man. I like Todd Frazier. You want to move on to second base?
Yeah. Second base, we have former Dodger Kiké Hernandez, and most recently with the Indians, Cesar Hernandez. No relation. So Kiké Hernandez, majority of the time he is traditionally an infielder, but he's played a lot of outfield.
Yeah.
And that alone is an advantage for any team that picks him up. Age-wise, Kiké Hernandez is 29. Cesar Hernandez is 30. So they're not that
same
much
age.
of a difference in the age. Yeah, pretty much the same age. They're only like 6 months apart or something. Slugging percentage 425 compared to Cesar Hernandez, that's 383. Now that's a pretty big difference. You know, obviously Kiké Hernandez has a lot more power than Cesar Hernandez does.
Yeah.
Kiké, he's a lefty specialist. He's a right-handed batter that just hits lefties really well. So I think if he's given more playing time, I think that he'd be able to hit righties a little bit better. But because the Dodgers had so much depth at the position that you know, second base or outfield, whatever he did play, he just didn't really have a chance to play against a lot of righties. You know, left field, if he's playing left field, you also have Jock Peterson that could have played in against the righties, and you know, at shortstop, you had Corey Seager. Second base, you know, last year or the year before, it was Max Muncy with Matt Beatty, you know, taking over at first base. So I think that Kiké Hernandez over Cesar Hernandez, I would rather have Kiké. Slugging percentage and just kind of overall presence.
Kiké Hernandez, I like I said, maybe because we're Dodger fans, we see, you know, this player, but I'm picking Kiké Hernandez too. It's just his I guess versatility in the field. Again, it's something that you can go ahead and rest players because he knows how to play so many positions. You can put him on the outfield, you can put him anywhere in the infield, and he has played those positions. I think the only position I haven't seen him play was catcher, and he was about to do it one time when the Dodgers were getting, it's not mercy ruled, but they were getting pretty much really slaughtered because we did see him pitch too, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going off of fielding. You know, the bat for these type of players, for me, I feel that it'll come sometime. You know, it's not going to be there all the time because these players, I feel like they're not starters. I feel like they're kind of like filling the role. And you know, Kiké for me is one of those players. And, you know, I know it's I'm being biased, you know, but yeah, Kiké, I like Kiké a lot for sure.
I think that even batting aside, just defensively, Kiké Hernandez is way more versatile, and he's just the better infielder. Cesar Hernandez has, you know, he has good hands, he has a decent arm, but I think just the plays that I've seen Kiké Hernandez do, diving for plays and you know, making these amazing plays that you would think that he would miss, and then he just comes around and he actually makes the play. Yeah. So Cesar Hernandez, you know, I followed him a little bit back when he was with the Phillies. I think he was with the Phillies a few years ago. Cool. Yeah, Cesar Hernandez.
Cesar Hernandez, yeah.
Yeah, from 2013 to 2019, he was with the Phillies. And in playing fantasy, I had him on my fantasy league a couple times. He's, you know, obviously not the first choice at second base, but he's a good source of batting average. Career-wise, he's batting average 277. So career batting average 277. That's not bad at all. You know, compared to Kiké Hernandez, 268. So, you know, it's a little bit lower than I'm sorry, I'm looking at someone else. 240 for Kiké Hernandez. So that's a pretty decent drop. That's 30 points you know, lower than Cesar Hernandez. But I think just the pop that Kiké Hernandez has with his bat, just the home runs that he's able to produce, and the RBIs and the defensive capability, I just go Kiké over Cesar. Yeah. And no argument there, man. No argument. Now let's move on to shortstop. Who shortstop? We got Andrelton, Simmons, and Marcus Semien. How about you go first on this one?
Okay, so let's see. Let me pull it up. All right. Who do we got? Sorry.
Marcus Semien and Andrelton Simmons.
Semien. Oh, well, Semien, both coming from the West Coast. So Semien, I saw him playing in the playoffs. He kind of didn't show up as much as I thought he was going to be. Like, a good hitter. Like he kind of showed up in the last 2 games against the Astros, and to me, like that's important because when you have these roles, like for me, I think he's how old is he? He's 30 years old. He's still young enough to go to a team and be a starter. Even the A's can go ahead and sign him, but the A's are not going to give up that much money for it, right? So he does have a career batting average of 254. It's not all the way up there like other shortstops and stuff like that, but if you're going against Andrelton, Simmons, I think both of them are really good shortstops. But Simmons, one thing that he has, his defense is just really, really good. His defense, to me, I've seen him play defense really, like at Angel Stadium. I've been to a couple of games there, and when he's played, like he reaches balls that you're like, oh, they're going through the hole. No, he reaches them and he throws people out. So to me, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Andrelton Simmons because, he is a little bit older, but I think he has that that I guess drive to cover another shortstop. Like let's say if he goes to the Giants, he can go ahead and play there and be really good because they have all these young players there, and he has skills. He has those skills. So I think he has a better chance of playing a little bit more games and then showing these kids how to play. Because the Giants, I think, are one of the teams that there's not a lot of veterans in that team anymore, right? The only one they have is Posey, and then they have Longoria at third. I don't think Crawford's there anymore. I think he's a free agent as well this year. So I think he would.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think I believe he's either a free agent. If I'm not mistaken, because I thought I heard that his name in the free agency list. But I gotta check if he's not there or if he is there, because he hasn't been playing like full game. Like last season, he didn't play like a lot of games because he had injury. So he could be a fill-in for the Giants. And I think Simmons is a good fit, like for me. Who do you got?
I went the other way. I'm going to go with Marcus Semien. And I do agree with you that Andrelton Simmons has way better glove, a huge range, great for a shortstop. Defensively, Andrelton Simmons all the way. Gold Glove material. I just think going back to the OPS, the thing that I think really makes a player, Marcus Semien's OPS is 747 compared to Andrelton Simmons that's at 696. Yeah. That's a huge drop off. And Marcus Semien, he's the type of guy that you could put, number 5 in the order, and he hits the ball really hard. And he could help score a lot of runs. Maybe he's not going to cross the plate as many times, but he knocks guys in, and he knocks them in a lot. And he has a really good glove and a decent arm in his own right too. He can also play third base. So knowing that he's versatile like that he could play short and third base. I don't think I've ever seen Simmons play the hot corner before. But Semien, like throughout his career, he has played third base a few times. So in that respect, Andrelton Simmons definitely has the better glove, but bat wise and versatility, I'm going to go with Marcus Semien. And you know what? Not this past season, the season before, 2019, he was actually in the running for MVP for AL. So so that kind of like plays for him also. So seeing what kind of player he could be, age 30, he's probably going to start declining a little bit, but I think we could still see some flashes of greatness from him.
Yeah, no, I think Semien is a great shortstop to be a starter, and that's not. I'm not saying that I picked Simmons over him because of that. It's just I'm trying to. If these are players for me that I'm looking for to fill in the hole whenever a shortstop needs to go ahead and rest, like Semien for sure, he's going to be a starter somewhere because this past season. So we got to look at the season. 2020 wasn't a full season, and Semien is one of those players that like he really picks it up at the end of the season. And this one was a really short season, so he really didn't pick it up at all this season. But the years before, yeah, he had like 280, 290 batting average, and then this season he was just like a drop off, right? But he is going to be a starter somewhere for sure. Simmons, I don't think he's going to be a starter somewhere. I think he's just going to be a fill-in. And for me, like a fill-in, it's great. That's why I'm picking him. But yeah, Semien is really right. I just think he's going to be a starter somewhere. I think he might even be a good fit for a team that's actually trying to push to go into the playoffs. But I just can't think of what team that could be right now, because everybody has their shortstops.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so I think right now, like for Semien, I think it's not a good market for him, which sucks because he is a great player, like you mentioned. And
well, like I was saying earlier, he could also play third base. So whatever team that does pick him up, because his range isn't as good as like an Andrelton Simmons or a Javier Baez, they could just switch him over to third base. There's a lot of teams that are in need of a third baseman right now.
Yeah.
And there's some other teams like the Rockies that have Nolan Arenado, but he could possibly even be traded before the season starts.
There's a lot of rumor because
they've been talking about rebuilding. And even though Arenado, he comes with a really heavy contract, he's worth it, man. He's the top third baseman in the whole league, hitting wise and defensively. You know, I really think he's unmatched in that position, whether it's AL or NL. He is the best in that position right now. And even though he's going to cost about $30 million a year, so what? If you got the money, pay for it.
Yeah.
He's a game changer. He could help you win a championship.
He can. And, you know, one thing that you just mentioned about the free agency and then the trading Arenado, another one that's out there is Lindor. So maybe the Indians might be looking to give him a 1-year contract or something like that for Semien, which is, you know, it just caught my eye right now, and I just heard it from you saying that could be a trading prospect or a trading, you know, person that might be leaving the team and they need a shortstop. So the Indians might be one of those, and the Rockies, like you said. So yeah, I got Simmons, you got Semien. So we're not
not seeing eye to eye today.
Yeah, we're not. It's we're going different way. So you want to go to the next one? There's just third base. Who else do we have?
Yeah, third base. We got Brad Miller and Brock Holt.
Yeah.
You want to go first? You want me to go first this time?
Go ahead and go first on this one.
So both of these guys have been in the league for a really long time. Brock Holt has been in the league. He broke out in 2012. Brad Miller in 2013. The past couple seasons, I've seen Brad Miller bounce around to a lot of different teams. And there was even one team, I don't remember who it was. It might have even been the Phillies that picked him up off of free agency. And they signed him to a minor league deal and invited him to spring training. And he didn't make the 25-man roster at the beginning of the season. Yeah. And he ended up requesting to get out of his contract, so that way he could sign with another team. And last season he played with St. Louis, just this past 2020 season. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he was a starter at all. I think he played a few. Looks like he played 48 games out of 60. So he played most of the games. He only missed 12. But I don't know, man. His OPS is actually pretty decent, 737 with a 421 slugging percentage. So that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Looks like a 162 game average. He usually gets about 19 home runs. So that's actually pretty decent for shortstop, second baseman, or first baseman.
Which is all the infield pretty much. I kind of like Brad Miller because of that. But then you have Holt, Brock Holt. He plays outfield. He plays outfield, second base, and third base.
Yeah.
So those are pretty important positions for me, actually. Career batting average is 268. He's not an everyday player as well. But that's something that I look for. Like we talked about versatility out in the field, right? We talk about Kiké, how he can move to different positions. I like the fact that players can play different positions and not play every day and still have like a 250 batting average and above. For me, that's something that I'm looking for if I need someone to, like a fill-in, like we've been talking about. And I think Brock Holt, to me, will fill in very well in a team that's trying to reach to the next level, because the versatility in the player, tells you a lot, how athletic this player is, right? And more than just the batting average and more than just the OPS and all this stuff, yeah, that helps because you're going to have him bat every once in a while, right? But when he's out in the field, you know that you're going to be able to count on this player and you're going to be able to move him around because you have that player that does that. And for me, Brock Holt, I think, is that player that go ahead and do that. Like a 268 career, I don't think that's bad at all. I think that's pretty well, for me. I know you don't like just going off of batting average. I know you like going off of WAR. I mean, what is it? OPS? On base percentage.
Yeah.
So on 2020, he had a 668. It's not that well. For a hitter to be really good and really known, it's 750 and above. He's under that 750, but for an everyday player, that's not bad either. You're looking at an everyday player, it's a 750 and above, and then if it's not an everyday player, you're looking at 600 and above. And this guy is a 600 above. He's 668, which is not bad. It's not bad. And then you're looking at...
that's not bad at all.
No, it's not. And it's not an everyday player, like I'm saying. You're looking at everyday players against players that don't play every day. And, that I'm picking him for sure. So... And I don't know what team I would benefit from this team, from this guy, to be honest. I'm looking at maybe the Cardinals. The Cardinals, I think, I know Brad Miller was with the Cardinals, but I think Brock Holt will be good in the Cardinals. And I'm just throwing something out there because I think the Cardinals have a few free agents out there, and then they need to fill in those positions.
Yeah, I don't really see either one of these guys really getting like a decent contract or even a multi-year contract. They're probably both going to get one-year contracts. Mm-hmm. But I picked Brock Holt also for a different reason, and the reason why I'm picking him is because I don't really like that the fact that Brad Miller, he started the season in the minors and he ended up just quitting on the team. I feel like that just showed that he's not a team player. And you got to grind. Baseball is a very grinding sport, and if you're not going to be that type of player to go out there and grind on a daily basis just to try to make a position yours, mm-hmm. or at least get be the backup so that way you could get on the 25-man room, then a bad taste in my mouth after that one. Yeah. And I wouldn't want a guy like that on my team personally. No. But even though Brad Miller does have a higher OPS, he's the type of guy that's going to hit a few home runs every season. Brock Holt, just comparing the two, Brad Miller 162 game average is 19 home runs. Brock Holt 162 game average only has 6 home runs. But he's a decent source of average and on base percentage, but I'm still gonna go Brock Holt just because of the personality, I guess. Yeah, I mean, these are players that a lot of people are not even thinking about, right? These are players that we're just going ahead and talking about because these players can actually help teams make it to the next level because they're spots. They're like they're fill-ins, like we said. I keep saying fill-ins, right? I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but utility. Yeah,
a utility player, and but then utility player. I don't know. We can talk about the big time free agents that are out there, but there's teams that can't afford that. And then coming off a season where you don't have fans, where's the money? Where's the revenue? Where's all this? Where we can play players right now. There's not that much out there.
Just looking at a couple of these guys like DJ LeMahieu, he's probably going to get, at least $20 million a year. Carlos Santana is probably going to get anywhere between like 15 to 18.
Yeah.
Didi Gregorius, he's probably going to get between 15 and 18. And then Justin Turner coming off a World Series win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers sign him again. I know the Dodgers don't really like to sign players for really long-term deals, except for Mookie Betts because he's one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
But I really hope that the Dodgers do re-sign Justin Turner. I would give him a 3-year contract. If I was the general manager.
Yeah.
He's 35, maybe 36 now.
Mm-hmm.
But he is slowing down a little bit in the field. He's not as quick on his feet as he used to be. He does have leg problems, so it's hard for him to the fast twitch muscles. It's kind of giving him a little trouble. He's not the fastest runner in the world, but the guy can flat out hit, man. He's not going to hit 40 home runs in a season, but he's great at grinding out at bats. He gets in so many full counts, and he hits the ball really hard. He's a line drive hitter. He'll hit 25 home runs, but batting average kind of hovers a little bit above 300. So that's the type of player that you really want on a team, especially because he's been around the league for so long. Yeah. He's the veteran. He's the guy that a lot of these younger guys can learn from. You got Gavin Lux coming up that's supposed to be the starting second baseman next year, especially with Kiké Hernandez gone now. You still got Corey Seager at shortstop for one more year. Max Muncy, who's also been around the league for a little bit. Chris Taylor, I really feel like he can kind of guide, maybe if they're planning on having Edwin Rios stay at third base for their future. Yeah, he could be the guy to kind of like guide him into the position and give him pointers whenever it's needed. And they all the Dodgers players have said that Justin Turner is the type of guy that in the clubhouse, he's the one that gets everyone all riled up and gets them ready, he's the veteran player that every clubhouse wants. Yeah. And it's going to be an exciting off season. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of movement since the World Series ended, for sure. Like, I know the only big news that we saw was Clevenger signing a 2-year extension with the Padres, but then he has Tommy John surgery, right? And then the big time rumor, and I think this time is for real. They're trying to move Lindor. He's a big shortstop. He's a big name, so that hasn't happened yet. And then another one, since we're Dodger fans, remember that when Bellinger hit that home run and he went with Kiké and he dislocated his shoulder. He had surgery today, so he's going to be ready in 10 weeks. He should be ready in spring training. But other than that, there hasn't been any movements. There hasn't been any speculations on who's going to get signed and who's going to sign who, or any movements around the league. I guess because there's not going to be a winter meeting, physical winter meeting where they usually go and they meet and they discuss, and then usually it happens by Thanksgiving, right? It usually happens by Thanksgiving, and you know what's going on, and all baseball fans get all excited and like, oh, this is happening, all these things, rumors here and there. Well, this year is different. This year we're just waiting, sitting here, and hopefully getting news on all social media so we can go ahead and see what's going on, or otherwise we're not really seeing anything. Another name that you didn't mention is Marcus Stroman. He accepted the qualifying offer from the Mets, so he's going to be with the Mets for another season. That is a good, a big time. I think he said, it was rumors supposedly that he had said that he doesn't want to stay with the Mets, but then they gave him the 18 million. I think I forgot how much it was. 18. I think it's 18.7. I forgot what it was, and he signed that last, or he agreed, right? He didn't opt out. Right. So Stroman. I think there's going to be a solid rotation in New York. And I actually heard that the White Sox offered Marcus Stroman a 1-year deal, and he turned it down. And just because that they hired La Russa as the manager. And that's another big one. La Russa is just like, oh my God, everybody's talking about it. I think it was the day after that he had a DUI, or the day before, and it's just causing problems in Chicago. Like, it's just like, I didn't even know that man drink. Now I can see now I can see why he kind of does look like a little bit of an alcoholic. It's like, what? Was he drinking when he was with the Cardinals, or when he was with the A's? What's going on? Yeah, but all these news are not, it's not, by this year, this time last year, there was a lot of movements going on. There was a lot of things going on with baseball and everything. And this year, it's just kind of like slow. So hopefully it does pick up, and hopefully we can go ahead and talk about these things, because it's exciting talking about all this stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of top free agents out there, I'm just going to go through the list real quick. Yeah, go for it. JT Realmuto, been with the Phillies for a couple seasons. He got traded from Miami. for Sixto Sanchez, and he's a free agent. He did state that he wants to stay with the Phillies. Okay. Depending on what kind of offer they give him. He did decline the qualifying offer. Okay. So he's not going to take just that 1-year deal. He definitely wants, a few more years than that. So we'll see where he lands. Carlos Santana, who was most recently with the Indians, first baseman. This guy walks more than anybody I've ever seen in my life, dude. His on-base percentage is crazy. And if his batting average was a little bit higher, he would have the highest on-base percentage in the league. Yeah. I think that belongs to either Bryce Harper or Mike Trout. Both of those guys are in the 400s. Second base, you got DJ LeMahieu, who signed with the Yankees for a couple years. I'm thinking they're probably going to re-sign him. I don't know why they would let him go when he had such a good season last season and the season before. So obviously it wasn't just a Colorado effect, the Coors Field effect, because he was doing the same thing in Yankee Stadium that he was doing in Colorado. And so I wouldn't see why not sign him again? They got the money.
Yeah, the Yankees and the Blue Jays are kind of sneaking in on that one too. So it's going to be interesting to see. I would think that the Yankees are not going to let him go, but if the Blue Jays are in the mix, or they're just usually rivalry teams are trying to get in the mix and try to say, oh, we're going to give them this much, and then sometimes the other team ends up overpaying for this player. But LeMahieu is just, I think LeMahieu has always been good, even when he was in Colorado. Yeah. And like you said, he got the
batting title a couple of times. And
exactly.
I feel like Coors Field definitely kind of it changes the opinion that a lot of people have on the players that play there, which is why Arenado hasn't won an MVP yet, even though he has almost an MVP caliber season every year. Same thing with Charlie Blackmon. A lot of these guys are overlooked, but I mean, just looking what DJ LeMahieu did from going from Colorado to New York, it really shows that it's not just Coors Field, that these players are actually really good players. And I would love to see what Arenado could do in a different stadium, and like we were talking about before, that actually might happen this season.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to see it.
Going on to the next position is shortstop. The top player in that position right now is Didi Gregorius, who was with the Yankees for so long, before that with the Diamondbacks, and most recently with the Phillies. I see the Phillies signing him again for another season. I don't know why they would let him go. He's somewhat cheap for a really good shortstop. And even though they have Gene Segura at second base, if he doesn't pan out at second, Didi can also play second base, and he is a little bit on the older side. I think he's like 31 or 32. He's been around the league, a long time. And sometimes when a shortstop kind of gets to slow down a little bit, they do move him over to the Keystone, to second base. And I'd see them signing him for $16 million a year for maybe a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really that many shortstops out there right now.
No.
So, like we were talking
Semien, about, Semien and Simmons,
and Andrelton, Simmons, but out of those three, I'd still go with Didi.
Yeah. Well, he is the top one out of the whole free agents that are shortstops, right? Yeah. And this is your list. Sure. So I for the money, I think we went the cheaper route, but I think I think he's just going to get a better contract. I think he's just going to stay with the Phillies one more year, or maybe the Indians are another team that can go ahead and pick him up. Yeah. If they trade Lindor.
That's actually really good. I could see that happening. Yeah. Them trading Lindor and then signing Didi, kind of like in the same day.
Yeah, like a 1 year deal.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
And third base, we already talked about Justin Turner. Left field, Marcelo Osuna, who came off an MVP season. He was really close, man. He actually almost took it away from Freddie Freeman. He was up there with Mookie Betts and Fernando Tatis. So that guy has a lot of power. He showed that he can have a decent batting average also. I think the thing that holds him back is his defense. the first year that he broke into the league, he had a really solid defense, and after that, he just he drops fly balls and makes bad throws.
I think one of the plays that I remember him it was against the Dodgers.
I already know what you're talking about.
He went to the fence and he thought it was going to go over, and then he falls off the fence
like 5 feet in front of him.
Oh, so yeah,
man, I'd be so embarrassed if I was that guy. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
and he's done that twice too.
Yes,
he's done that against a different team too.
But hey, Marcell Ozuna, for sure, he's a really good hitter. I think he will go to the American League. I think the team I feel like has maybe could sign him would be like I don't know, maybe like the Blue Jays. Blue Jays don't need a lot of help, but they need that guy that's been to the playoffs. He's been with the Cardinals. He's been with the now with the Braves, and the Braves weren't a bad team. They were a really good team. So he can take that experience with the Blue Jays, because I think the Blue Jays have money to spend this year. Like, I don't know where they're getting this money, or maybe it just sounds like they want to get these players and they're throwing it out there that they want to get these players. But it sounds like they want to make some moves. They already signed Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray was pretty cheap. I think they got him for what, like $9 million?
Yeah, they got him pretty cheap, and he's a really good pitcher. I mean,
I think that the only one that they actually have on the team that is making a lot of money is Hyun-Jin Ryu, and everyone else is either rookies or really cheap. I don't think that they have anybody else like really big name players on the team.
Yeah. So we'll see. And who else?
Another left fielder we got is Michael Brantley, who was with the Indians for a long time, and then he was most recently with Houston. He's a very quiet, really good player. He's not a guy. He's the guy that not a lot of people talk about, but he's definitely the guy that you want on your team.
He's kind of really like Garrett Anderson. Remember Garrett Anderson from the Angels?
Garrett Anderson.
Remember, he was really like quiet player, but he always had good batting average. He was in the World Series with the Angels in 2002. He played for the Dodgers for a year, and he's a quiet player. That's who this guy reminds me of. He's not an aggressive player. He's not a player that's going to get in your face. He's just out there doing his job. And, I don't know how much of a leader he is, because we're saying that he's a quiet player, but he would be a great asset. And that's why you have him on one of your top free agents, right? Yeah,
exactly. He's a really good source of batting average. His glove is amazing. He's not going to hit 40 home runs, but he'll get 15 to 20. So he has decent pop. I think that the thing that's really going to get him a decent contract is just the batting average and his fielding.
Yeah.
He can really play any of the outfield positions. He's quick, so he can play center field. He has a decent arm, so he can play right. I really don't understand why teams are only giving him 1-year deals. That's the type of guy that I would want to sign for 3 or 4 at least. Marcell Ozuna definitely has a lot more pop than him, but overall, I'd rather have Brantley and have him bat like number 2 in the lineup.
Yeah,
I think he's a solid number 2.
You don't think the Astros are going to try to get him?
Maybe, but is he going to want to re-sign with the Astros? He signed with the Astros before the news of the scandal broke out, and I don't know if he felt like he was just stuck with them or what, but they've obviously already offered him the qualifying offer, because all the offers have already had to been in already. So anyone that hasn't accepted the qualifying offers, they've declined them so far. So I don't know, maybe he's holding out for a little bit more money. Maybe he wants longevity. He is in the American League right now, and if he resigns with the Astros, he can still DH or play the field, whatever they need. And they definitely have a couple holes, because George Springer is a free agent also, which brings me to my next thing, center field. George Springer's the top free agent for center field. I don't really see George Springer as a center fielder. He's more of like a right fielder. I don't think he has the range to be able to play center most often, but because Reddick was in right and they had Brantley in left, I see George Springer either as a left fielder or a right fielder, not really in center field. But it really depends on what the team needs. You know, he obviously is a team player.
Yeah.
He showed that by playing any position that they needed him to play. So obviously the Astros want to keep him, but the Astros have never really been a big market team. So I don't think they have the money to keep a guy like that.
I think I think they already said that they're not going to go ahead and sign him because I think the Astros are already kind of throwing money. I'm not sure how true this is, but it looks like the Mets are trying to get him to go to New York. So, I mean, it would be a great fit out there. They do need hitting because they already have the pitching. Yeah. And if he does go over there, the Mets will be a contending team. And I was looking at the favorites to win the 2021 World Series. And if they do go ahead and make that trade, they'll be one of the top. I think it was seven teams already on there, and they were the seventh team on the list without George Springer. So if they go ahead and get him, I would imagine that they will climb up probably a spot or two spots, because he is a great leader. He's already won a World Series. He knows how to get there. He's been in the playoffs ever since they won that World Series. So you need that veteran presence, and you need that he's a leader. He's a leader in the team. And he's well spoken. He doesn't talk a lot of mess. Yeah. He's a strict business, and I actually like him a lot. And I think it will be a good fit for the Mets, and it'll be competitive for the Braves and the Nationals. So you have a 3-team thing out there if he does go.
I think he would be a really good fit for the Mets also, and he's a really good source of batting average, and that's something that the Mets lack. They have a lot of power. They have Michael Conforto, who can hit 40 home runs, and first baseman. I always forget his name. The polar bear.
I'm drawing blanks, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He won the home run derby.
He won the home run derby, and he had the most home runs in the season, I think, in 2019.
Yeah.
So they definitely have a lot of power in their lineup, but I think the thing that they're missing is batting average. So George Springer could be a leadoff hitter for the Mets. Hit some Springer dingers out in New York.
Yeah. So we gave you the top our picks for first base, second base, shortstop, and third base. Next podcast we will give you the outfield and the catchers, and then we'll have a show on strictly pitchers. And if you're a strictly pitcher fan, you will want to see that show for sure. Anything else to add, Will, before we sign out?
Let us know if you like our picks in the comments, and check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Real Talk Baseball. At Twitter, it's R Talk Baseball, and no more Facebook because we got in trouble for live streaming the World Series.
So I'll see if we go ahead and find another way to start that page up again. If we can go ahead, I'll see if we can do it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and keep posting videos. The season's not over for us. We like to talk baseball all the time. That's why it's Real Talk Baseball. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm Carlos Baseball. Yeah. I'm Carlos Baseball. This is WillPower, and this is Real Talk Baseball. Signing out.
See you guys.